Before you listen to the Tech Talk Daily podcast, I have to ask, are the high levels of uncertainty you're experiencing keeping you from making bold moves? Are you able to clearly see and act on the game-changing opportunities the pandemic has created? I'm Daniel Burrus, serial entrepreneur, global technology futurist, and disruptive innovation expert, and right now, you have a choice to make. You can react to problems and disruptions after they happen, or you can learn to accurately anticipate disruptions before they disrupt and identify and pre-solve problems before they happen, giving you the ability to turn disruptive change into your biggest advantage. If you want to take control of your future and make a significant impact now and in the years ahead, join thousands of leaders from around the world by becoming a member of my Anticipatory Leader System, where you'll get the latest insights, processes, tools, and virtual coaching that will give you the certainty and confidence you need to actively shape a better future for you and your organization. Go to techblogwriter.co.uk and click on Daniel Burrus.
Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Do we have any crypto millionaires out there yet? Has anybody gone on a trip to the moon? Have they come back from the moon? It really does feel like there's echoes of 2017 in the air at the moment, doesn't it? And DeFi has been the big success story in crypto this year. But what does the future of finance actually look like? And how do we get there? Building a bridge between traditional and decentralized finance and seeking to unlock trillions of dollars in capital is a company called AllianceBlock, an organization which is building the world's first globally compliant decentralized capital market. So I've invited Rasheed, the co-founder and CEO of AllianceBlock, onto the podcast today, and he's got a decade of experience in investment banking and has worked as a quantitative analyst in leading investment banks Barclays and BNP Paribas. And he also has a degree in computer science and signal processing from IMT Atlantique and a master's degree in probability theory and quantitative finance from the Université of Paris. In short, he's a much smarter man than I could ever hope to be. But I want to delve into this world, where we're heading, and the role that AllianceBlock are playing. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Paris, where Rasheed is waiting to speak with us now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so thank you, Neil, for having me. It's a great opportunity to be here. So my name is Rachid Ajaja. I am the founder and CEO of AllianceBlock. I've been in investment banking for more than 10 years, where I was quantitative analytics. I started my career back in 2008, 2007, where I was in credit risk modeling and everything around default probability of SMEs and public and private companies. Then I moved to more front office role where I was in commodities exotics, pricing financial instruments. Then I switched completely from investment banking because there was the AI started and I wanted really to have a foot on AI. So I come back from London to Paris, where I work as the lead of research team in AI advancing, where we work on smart infrastructures, the foundation of smart cities. And it was quite successful because we managed to deploy this smart algorithm. Then back in 2017, I started to invest a lot in crypto and being interested by technology. And I saw the positive impact that it will bring to the financial space. So I quit my job at Vinci and we started the adventure in AllianceBlock, where I was joined by Matthijs, which is our CTO, and Amber Haddad, which is also like with us. She was ex-investment banker from JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. And we started this adventure actually 2 years ago. And we are really excited every day, especially what we are seeing, what is happening in the space right now.
And I think 2020 will be remembered for a lot of the wrong reasons. But of course, there's so many good things, really. If we do try and take some of the positives out of this, I think the speed of technological change and adoption of that has just increased at breakneck speed. And I think even Microsoft said a couple of weeks ago that we've seen digital transformation, or 2 years of digital transformation in 2 months for a large part of that. But as someone that's had a decade investment banking experience and have worked as a quantitative analyst in leading investment banks such as Barclays, I'm curious, have you seen any changes towards DeFi and attitudes? Have they changed?
Yeah, so let's take a step back. So we saw the emergence of BTC and Ethereum, then the smart contracts, and we saw more and more projects working on this. Then we saw the positive things and the bad things about ICOs. But then after 2017, we saw more and more projects come into the crypto space that are solving a real problem. And the funny story is that even though the investment bank before they were against crypto, we saw that a lot of executives starting their startups into the crypto space, blockchain space, or using blockchain technology in order to disrupt the traditional finance space. For example, let's take the example of JP Morgan that have spin off their team, which is Cadena, that want to solve the scalability of blockchain. We saw London Stock Exchange investing more than $10 million in company like Nivora, which try to solve some of the problem of the back office within the blockchain. We saw also Banco Santander investing in companies like Securitize, and they have a fund which is specific for blockchain companies. But also we can think about when we saw all this the DeFi space started, everything started with what we call Uniswap, which is automatic market making. And it's opened so much opportunities, not only for project to be able to raise money, but also all these innovative products that we are seeing. And lately, we can see that Techstars, they have partnered with Barclays in the UK in order to have also some company. And there are lots of in blockchain to solve specific problems thanks to blockchain technology. And they will be used by Barclays. There was also a new program between Techstars and ABN AMRO in Netherlands that they are looking specifically for blockchain companies solving these problems about digital assets. And yeah, so I think the space is really excited. Investment banks and financial institutions are really interested into this space because they see that there is huge added value. And here we don't speak just about crypto assets. We speak really about blockchain technology and what can bring to this space.
And I'm glad you mentioned JP Morgan there, because obviously in 2017, they were famous for, or one of the representatives there was famous for saying that Bitcoin is a fraud. Mm-hmm. But then I think very quickly, they've now completely changed and said it's going to blow up and they're investing, etc. So there's one example of attitudes changing. And DeFi has been the big success story in crypto this year. And the space is beginning to feel incredibly exciting again. But what does the future of finance look like? And how do we get there, do you think?
Future finance, I can say one word. For me, it's really amazing. So we know that blockchain can help deliver increased security. They will enhance data recording and faster processing to transform all this future finance. But also, we saw a lot of projects that are trying to tackle the problems about illiquid assets, tokenization. We have all these new decentralized applications that are doing the peer-to-peer loan and everything that is around non-fungible tokens that will make also new stream for revenue for financial institutions and their clients, but also having a new way of having short-term financing, which is one of the products that we are working on. We will see, and we are seeing now platforms in DeFi that are building new innovative structured products. There is more and more projects tackling the problem of derivatives because now we have much more data. We have bots that are trading in different decentralized markets, which mean that like we can have less arbitrage. And hence, we can really apply all what we have been doing in quantitative analytics and be able to provide some kind of derivative product that can hedge against, for example, volatilities or what we see now in liquidity mining, what we call the impermanent loss. We have also we have partnered, for example, with Ocean Protocol, and it's one of the leader onto decentralized data layer and data marketplace. And here there are amazing use cases because, for example, how can you connect the open banking and PSD2 initiative that we are seeing in Europe and the UK? They are leading on open banking. How can we connect this to DeFi? And thanks to this decentralized data layer and adding the compliance layer that we are building, we can see, for example, the new application that will aggregate the users of retail banks and their data, but also being able to mix it to their crypto assets. There are like a lot of opportunities here. And what excites me the most, actually, if we see every single DeFi project and the problematic that they are building, we can think back a few years about the digital transformation in retail banking. In the beginning, the legacy system were really hard. It was not uniform between the different departments. It was really a lot of complex legacy systems and very old. So what happened then? So there we saw that people are starting to build API on top of the legacy system, which opened door to all these fintech companies that really disturb the space and accelerate the digital transformation. And from there, we saw the existence of the neobank, such as N26, Revolut, and others. So for me, blockchain and DeFi, it's exactly the driver of the digital transformations into investment banking and capital market in general, because we have a lot of components that if we put them together, of course, taking into account regulatory and compliance, we will be able to build the future of investment banks, thanks to the link between the PSD2 and open banking and what is happening on decentralized finance space. We will be able to build this decentralized neobank. And this is really exciting in the space, and it's moving so fast. Then we will see the outcome in the next few years, and not in 20 years. But I think for me, in the next 5 to 10 years, we will see a lot of these products that are huge adoption within the traditional world, but also within crypto world.
And I'm glad you mentioned the word adoption there, because I think a big part of that adoption phase is educating people both in and outside of the space and making it more approachable, because a lot of people that could be listening today might be intimidated by this space. So for those people, can you go into a little bit more detail on exactly what AllianceBlock is and how you're building a bridge between traditional and decentralized finance?
Mm-hmm. So to give really high overview about AllianceBlock, what we want to build is a globally compliant, decentralized capital market, and hence being able to bridge decentralized finance and traditional finance. A lot of projects and want to be able to do this bridge because it will open enormous opportunities, not only for the decentralized finance space, but also for traditional finance. But one of the biggest problems why the traditional finance cannot enter into this space, it's because there is no possibility of recourse or dispute. A lot of different standards from different blockchains. And of course, there is no link with the centralized authorities, like, for example, centralized security depository. So hence, I think once we discuss with all these financial institutions, we notice that the most important thing, if we want to do this bridge compliantly, we need to deal with the compliance. Compliance, as you may know, it's more than 10% of revenue of the financial institutions. And more you have smaller financial institutions, more it's very hard for them to deal with all these updates, all these rules. So we believe in future of compliance to automate things, to be able to do everything around pre-investment check, pre-compliance check. And if we bring this to connect it to decentralized authorities like CSD, and also the blockchain to be able to take the advantage of the trading of tokenized assets, we will be able to bridge. And this, it will give huge opportunities in the next few years, because this is the foundation where you can have the flow of money from traditional finance to decentralized finance and vice versa. Also, because we saw, and as we spoke earlier, a lot of interest from financial institutions into decentralized finance, we will see more innovative products that will come into life, that will be used by wealth managers, asset managers. For example, we saw in Switzerland, Vontobel, which is one of the biggest private banks there, are proposing to their clients Bitcoin and Ethereum wrapped certificates. So we can see also certificates based on indexes on decentralized finance or collateralized assets, but we will keep always the transparency and the security. So if we go back in 2008, we saw the subprime crisis because of the CDOs. So now imagine that you have a loan and you can collateralize it basically using what we call the non-fungible tokens, so tokenize this loan. So we can see what is inside, which means that we know perfectly the risk, and it could create new investment opportunities for the wealth manager, asset managers, and propose them to their clients. So this is exactly what we want to build. And by focusing on the compliance and regulations, we'll be able to build our protocol where all these service providers will be able to connect and propose their services while being compliant.
So how is it you're going to do that? How does it all work? Just for anybody listening, hearing about you for the first time.
So basically, if we check the cross-border rules, there are rules that need to be respected. If I am investor in Switzerland, I want to invest into security in the UK, I need to go from some cross-border check, basically. So this is what is missing in the blockchain space, because these rules, either they are within the tokens, and each tokens within blockchain is completely different. So what we are doing is bringing these rules that exist already within different jurisdictions, and we put them as machine-readable rules, which mean anytime that traditional finance clients, or even like people that are investing or trading, they will be able to be connected to this rule, and they will know if they can trade or not in assets, which will be completely compliant with the regulations in different jurisdictions. And this rule engine, it will be connected to stock exchanges, to centralized security depository, so we can always have the record of the ownership of the assets. It could be traditional tokenized asset like shares or bonds, but it could be also structured products. And because we are linking the rules of compliance and regulations in multiple jurisdictions to be able to do these cross-border transactions, but also being able to connect it to the blockchain so we can use all the positive points about the tokenization of assets, we will be able to link this centralized authority in one hand, which all traditional finance deal with, and the decentralized finance, which aim to use the blockchain technology. With these rules, we can connect the two worlds, and hence we propose new possibilities for both to be able to have new opportunities in the investments or into the debts, or loans, or whatever product that we can have.
And AllianceBlock is also incubated, I believe, by three of Europe's most prestigious incubators, Station F, L39, and Kickstart Innovation in Zurich, and also led by a heavily experienced team of ex-JP Morgan, Barclays, BNP Paribas, Goldman Sachs, investment bankers, and quants. Mm-hmm. So can I ask that you expand on that? Because from the outside looking in, from here, my podcasting chair, it feels like big businesses are waking up to the possibilities on the road ahead now.
Mm-hmm. This is totally true. I can speak with one example. I have said in the beginning. If you take, for example, Banco Santander, they have this fund which called Incubators, which fund blockchain companies and millions. We have Avaloq ecosystem, which is one of the biggest core banking system providers in Switzerland and the competitor of Temenos, that also have their ecosystem with 150 private banks, investment banks, wealth manager, but also blockchain companies. One of them is Metaco, which is a crypto custodian, and they have raised $10 million, which means that we see a huge interest into these investment banks, into this consultancy group. We can speak also about Deloitte, about KPMG, that are always releasing reports about tokenization of assets, how tokenization of illiquid assets will give new opportunities of investments, how, for example, transform passive assets into assets that can bring also revenue, a new stream revenue. So all these interests show that even though some of the financial institutions, they don't say it publicly, but they are heavily investing into these disrupting technologies, and they will, of course, take advantage of them once regulation will become more widely. And also something super important, we saw a lot of CBDC in the different jurisdictions in China, SEC, they are speaking about this, Europe also. So, which means that we are seeing adoption more and more. One of the I would say, the problems why also a lot of people couldn't have access, it's also the UI, how how you need to deal with wallets, with private key, with public key, and traditional finance, they don't want to deal with this. So we are seeing investment into projects that will deal with this digital identity, which means that we can connect only with emails and Facebook or Apple ID or Google email, and we'll be able to have access to all these opportunities without even knowing that there is blockchain underneath. And this is exactly what will make the difference. So yes, there is huge interest for financial institutions, more adoptions, a lot of leading incubators such as Techstars and Accelerator that are connecting with banks, investment banks, in order to provide offering for these startups so they can use their products.
Love that. And before you came on the podcast today, I was reading about your mission at AllianceBlock, which is to disrupt the $100 trillion securities market with your state-of-the-art and globally compliant decentralized capital market. But can you tell me a little bit more about that as well? Because again, it sounds incredibly exciting.
Yes. So as I said in the beginning, what we want to build compliant bridge between decentralized finance and traditional finance, with huge focus into cross-border regulatory rules and compliance in different jurisdictions. When we will do this, what does it mean? It means that traditional finance will have access to all these tokenized assets. They can also tokenized shares, bonds, and they can be tradable, which means we will see a flow of money, but not only simple instruments. We will see more and more derivative products, illiquid funds, NFTs, for example, which is non-fungible tokens. It's amazing alternative to tokenized real assets. It could be illiquid fund, arts, collectible cards, jewelry, wine fund, and any fund that want also to use this disrupting technology in order to tokenize. So which means that we will have not only the users that are interested for these new investment opportunities, but also apply this to everything that exists. And when we will have this compliant bridge, which means we will have this flow of money, we will not have middlemen, which means increase of revenue, increase of efficiencies, decrease in the costs. And we can see this as the new way, the new capital infrastructure providers, because I would say in permissioned way, it could be also for small financial institutions to deploy this protocol and be able to have access to all these innovative services without building them by themselves. And exactly this is what happened in the retail banking. We saw now companies like Avaloq or Tenemos coming, building their core banking systems, and you can be able to plug to, thanks to API, to any fintech. So you can have payment, you can have KYC AML, you can have any kind of services that just clicking a button, which means that it's open doors to a lot of players to be part of this ecosystem, but also to increase the revenue. And this is the way that we think why we can disrupt this space, because we are focusing on the most important thing, which is compliance and regulation, because once this problem is solved, we will have this flow of money and hence disrupting the $100 trillion space.
And I've got to ask, what are your biggest challenges to get to that place? Is it adoption or is it something completely different?
Two things. The biggest challenge is compliance and regulations.
Yeah.
The second challenge is adoption. Hopefully, we are here to solve the first challenge, which is bringing the rules that exist already into machine-readable engine where we can do this pre-compliance check. We can do this cross-border transactions, fund distributions, which will be in line with all the compliance departments of the different financial institutions, and hence being able to have access to this market. So yes, this is the biggest challenge, and this is exactly what we want to solve. And why it's a challenge? Because this is not something that we can do just by ourselves. We need to have partners with lawyers, with compliance, with regulators. The product need to be built hand in hand with regulators, because as you may know, regulators hate to have a product, innovative product that is dealing with this financial world and they are not aware about it. So this is why sometimes regulation comes after the products and then some project need to shut down. So our way of doing it is every single things that we are doing is done hand in hand with regulators in different jurisdictions. Now, the second challenge is adoption, but we can see that there is enormous difference between 2017 and now. Why? We have more and more projects that are dealing with digital identity, so we can make a user interface super easy and seamless for users. And we are really happy to be partnered with one of our strategic partners, Acon, which are based in San Francisco, and they deal with digital identity. So people can just connect with their emails or their Facebook or their Apple ID, and they don't need to deal with wallets. We are seeing also applications that make investments into crypto or tokenized assets easy. And this is what's bring adoption. Adoption will come when people use blockchain without knowing that there is blockchain. They don't want to have wallets or private keys or public keys. So these are the two challenges that I see. And we are partnering with the right companies that solve the adoption, but also we are dealing with the regulatory and compliance layer.
And we will have people listening all over the world, and we will have some of your passionate community that are going to be wanting to find out more about the road ahead for you guys. So I've got to ask, what is your primary focus for 2021? And I appreciate you probably can't share too much, but are there any teasers you can leave us with today?
Indeed. So actually, we are every time we release strategic partners in our blogs, we always give a hint of what is coming. So if people take all the blogs and take everything that we have said in the different blogs, maybe they can construct our big pictures, but I can give hints. So one of the most important products that we want to start building is the compliant peer-to-peer lending and illiquid asset tokenization thanks to non-fungible tokens, which mean that we will allow to high net worth individuals that are private banks clients to be able to have access to short-term financing. But the interesting thing here is that the private bank, they will be able to increase their asset under management without even having the risk of the balance sheet. And this is the first product that show that we can bridge the two worlds. Of course, with having our compliance rules that we are building right now. So this is one of the most important products. We are also building complete DeFi aggregators that we released our first product, which is the liquidity mining. But this will give us the opportunity of building more sophisticated products that we can propose to the traditional finance that they can invest them into them compliantly. So these are the two things. There are many, many things that we are working on and we will release them, but these are the two main products that we want to achieve in 2021.
Excellent. And for anyone listening outside of your community that would like to join that community, find those blog posts or even contact a member of your team. What's the best way of doing that?
So there is our website, which is AllianceBlock.io, where we have all our Medium posts or our partners and all the news. There is also Twitter, of course, which is at AllianceBlock, and Medium also is at AllianceBlock. So we communicate in Twitter, Medium. We update our website regularly, and we try always to communicate about what we are doing. So, and if someone want to send us an email, please send this to hello@allianceblock.io.
Well, I think so many areas of our life now, technology has become invisible. We rely on it, but we don't know how it works or even that it's there half the time. And I think that's part of the key. And I love how you said a few moments ago that one of the big parts of that adoption phase is the average user doesn't want to know about blockchain, keys and wallets. Techies like me and you want to know all about that, of course, but for most people, they don't. You just want that tech to be invisible. So DeFi has been a big success story in crypto this year, but it's great to hear what the future of finance does look like and how we're going to get there. So thank you so much for sharing that journey with me today.
Thank you very, very much for having me. And it's indeed an exciting journey. And we will see amazing projects popping and new innovative products that will be proposed. But yeah, it's really exciting journey. And DeFi, it's the starting point of the adoption of blockchain and adoption of decentralized finance and everything that is happening. So yeah, really excited about what is coming next.
So AllianceBlock is building the first globally compliant decentralized capital market, and is essentially a decentralized blockchain agnostic layer 2 that automates the process of converting any digital or crypto asset into a bankable product. Essentially, building a bridge between traditional and decentralized finance, and in doing so, seeking to unlock trillions of dollars in capital. It's a fantastic story, and Rasheed is officially been added to one of the cool guys I'd like to share a cold beer with once I'm allowed to fly again. Who knows when that will be, but hopefully we can meet in person, and I'd love to get him back on the podcast next year and continue to follow his journey. But as for everybody listening, if you've got questions, insights, or anything that you want to share with me, even if you want to come on this podcast, email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com. Tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, and we'll keep this conversation going. But I'm afraid we're at the end of this episode, so hopefully I'll get to speak with you all again tomorrow. But all that's left for me to say is a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.